There we go. All right, folks. Hey, welcome aboard again. Must be a Tuesday night, and at the third Tuesday of April, our 143rd episode of Zoom Rock Room. Believe it or not, we're building up to that 150 coming later this summer. You won't want to miss that show. I'm not sure what we're doing yet, but you don't want to miss it. Uh, anyway, but so what did I get thinking about today? Talking about our little intro discussion here. Well, we could go this past Sunday. Uh, I can say we, as in me and Renee, did a program at York Springs, and boy, it was a crowd on our hands, wasn't it, Renee?
It was the largest crowd they ever had there, actually. Jerry brings them all out.
She was a
We
little
didn't do it
nervous.
for, I showed up to play Vanna with the Rocks.
And Renee became Vanna. She was showing the stuff around York Springs. If you don't know where that sits, right on Route 15 is yeah, it's kind of a neat place to talk about the backyard geology because if you go to the west, you got volcanoes. And go to the east, you got Dinosaur Land. So we had some good topics there, and I know the organizer for their annual meeting of the Historical Society was nervous about how many people were going to really show up, and they actually had to go find extra chairs to get people sitting down. They had I think Renee counted 73 people. So good audience, good show, and we had loads of fun. So hey, coming up this week, of course, is Easter weekend. And Holy Week. And I got thinking about in my past when I worked for York County Parks, we used to do Easter egg hunts, and it took us 2 weeks to get ready for the Easter egg hunt, and it takes the kids 5 minutes to destroy. There's something's not quite right about that, but a lot of fun. And when one time I went to a seminar, my first seminar I went with York County Parks over to Atlantic City. You hear about programs, and a gentleman did get up and talk about his Easter egg hunt. He did it in a unique way. He always he always used ping pong balls, and they like numbered ping pong balls for different prizes and all that. And they dropped the ping pong balls from a helicopter. And the day before the Easter egg hunt, it rained. Apparently, it rained really a lot and hard. It kind of like flooded the field that they normally use. So they said they got the brilliant idea. We're going to go out into the paved parking lot and drop the ping pong balls. So here comes the helicopter, and they start putting the ping pong balls out. And anybody knows anything about helicopters, why do they stay up? It's because they're producing a incredible downforce, and these ping pong balls starting to fly down to the parking lot, 80 miles an hour, and then they're bouncing back up into the sky and coming down again, and Um, they actually had a couple ping pong balls that broke a window at a new car dealership right next door. Um, so that wasn't a real good idea, sort of thing. So anyway, Jerry Jones got this one idea one year to let's let's throw out the plastic eggs by a helicopter. So one particular year, I hired a helicopter and we got the plastic eggs on out, and the kids were supposed to wait until my signal to go ahead, but unfortunately, as the plastic eggs began to fall, the kids decided it was time to go themselves. So we had early chaos a little earlier, but it worked out. I had no problems with anybody getting hurt, but just that ping pong ball effect, uh, pretty good story. So, you ever have any good Easter egg hunt stories there, Renee?
Not really Easter egg hunt stories. Dropping things from heights, though. We used to, when they made the super balls that were supposed to, the rubber
Oh,
balls that were supposed to bounce at least half as high as what you dropped them from,
oh
we
my.
would go out on the battlefield in Gettysburg and go 4 stories up the towers and drop them off. That was all good till we dented. Luckily, it was my car hood that got dented one time. Somebody threw it instead of dropped it, but it was always fun running back down the stairs to see how high it was going to bounce back up. And they do bounce about half as high as what you drop them from, so it's pretty impressive.
You know what my ultimate Easter egg hunt is for adults? Put out 1,000 eggs, put 5 sets of car keys into any 5 eggs. One set of the keys will start that car sitting over there. And let adults go find 1,000 eggs, and whoever gets the key, you get a chance to try to start that car. If your key starts it, that's yours to take home. That's my ultimate Easter egg hunt. Today, with the world we have, I don't know. It might cause a lot of problems along the way. Okay, let's get started here with what we got to be doing. And people that anybody is on board tonight for your first time, welcome aboard. And Zoom Rock Room 143. And of course, we've been talking to Renee, and I'm Jeri Jones. And the Zoom Rock Room is always sponsored by Lair Architect in Lake Havasu City, the home of the London Bridge. If you've never been to Lake Havasu, the real London Bridge is now in Havasu. You can walk and drive across it, but Paul and Marcel are designing for the future. And I'm happy to say officially they have signed on as their the big sponsor for another year. So our Zoom account is paid in full through the middle of next April. So thanks to Paul and Marcella for continuing to see that you folks enjoy this program as you do. The Buttonwood Nature Center in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania, home of the Institute. They are a sponsor. They like to spread our word around to their members and participants of the Buttonwood Nature Center. And they are ending up, this is probably going to be old here really soon, but they're ending up their capital campaign. They are developing their new piece of property now open to the public and ensuring the future. They still have some uh, phase two, phase three projects to happen, but a beautiful piece of property over in just east of Waynesboro. And if you go and visit, you'll certainly like the landscape and the scenery, particularly from the top of the hill where the house is that they use for their office. Retro Rocks in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, with Steve Hess. He's doing a bunch of special stuff now with clothing, and he has old vinyl records and CDs and rocks, minerals, fossils uh, in the store, 1809 Columbia Avenue in Lancaster. So you go check Retro Rocks out, and there's an example of what we showed last time: tie dyes and the bag. Red Line Telescopes, Wade Kraut, and of course the Red Line in Pennsylvania. Always willing to talk to you about telescopes, either a beginning telescope or if you're a little bit on the advanced side, he can help you out with a good telescope for the advanced. Some of these telescopes now that they are producing for only uh, $400 or $500 are a great astrophotography telescopes. You don't really need to know anything about astrophotography because the telescope does the work for you. And Wade actually has been out taking some great pictures of galaxies and nebulas um, with these new telescopes to kind of advertise them. So give Wade a shout on the phone or an email and give him a little business from the Zoom Rock Room. Our Zoom Rock Room schedule may, next next time is the nature quiz night, and that will be prizes from Retro Rocks. So be ready to answer our nature questions. It won't be all geology. Uh, Renee will be throwing in her expertise also. Paul Fegley will be talking about the Klondike Gold Rush on May the 20th. June 3rd, I'll be talking about what's new in the geology of South Mountain, as there's a brand new theory that's been proposed and uh, written about. It's not really online yet. I can't really steer you toward an article. Uh, and June 17th, I'm going to talk about the geology of York County parks. July 1st is the Susquehanna River petroglyphs with um, extraordinary Paul Nevin, who is Mr. Petroglyph glyph in the lower Susquehanna River Valley. And July 15th is going to be a great one. Joseph Lee, consultant for fracking, is going to talk to you about fracking and earthquakes. Are they related? So some good programs coming up in the first half of the summer, and then we'll have the second half of the summer schedule out for you in a few weeks. Um, if you're in the New York area, you want to take an OLLI program, May the 13th at Penn State York. I'll be doing the Dillsburg Earthquake Swarm program. So you can sign up at the olli.psu.edu/York. You can become a member of OLLI for very, very cheap money. And I think the class is only 15 or $20. I forget what it is. May 28th, the Southern York County Recreation is bringing me in to talk at the Shrewsbury Township building about the geology of York County, part of their speaker series that they are doing this year. So that should be a fun crowd and a great crowd down in Southern York County. So you can check out our website, jonesgeo.us, for any more updates. We actually have a lot of private things coming up with school groups. Um, Renee, this is yours.
All that fun stuff going on at Cadorus. So April is definitely school group season, so kind of not as many programs as we usually do. We do have some fun stuff coming up. The Secret Life of Seeds is going to be a great one for adults, but especially for the little guys, they're going to get to plant some seeds to take home and watch grow. That'll be a good one. But
Okay. Always something to do at Cador State Park. One of the bus trips I'm doing is May the 5th. Geology and History in Southwestern York County. It's basically going to cover Pigeon Hills and Cador State Park. And I think you might see Renee either on the bus or associated with the tour sometime that day also. But I understand last week at this time, we had about 6 seats, I think, were left for the bus. So if you do want to go on that tour, I would email. You can actually register online at the Spring Grove Area Historical Preservation Society's website and get on board. That's going to be a good trip too, talking about geology and some mining history and the Marianne Furnace and um, some more geology along the way. Um, Thursday, May the 1st, not too far away anymore. The series at Buttonwood, my geology series, comes alive. I'll be doing your backyard geology for the Waynesboro area. Again, we have South Mountain to the east and the Great Valley and the Appalachians to the west. So I can choose a number of things to talk about there. That's to be held at the Church of the Apostles, which is right in Waynesboro. And that's on May 1st at 7 p.m. No registration is required and is also a free program sponsored by the great people at Buttonwood Nature Center. And May the 3rd, 2 days after I'm in Waynesboro, I got to go back to Waynesboro again for the bus trip to the coal lands in northeastern Pennsylvania. We're going to do the number 9 coal mine tour in the morning and then go fossil collecting at New Ringgold in the afternoon. Um, and I understand there are still spots left for this. $65 if you're a member, $70 if you are a non-member of the Buttonwood Nature Center. Again, you can register online at buttonwoodnaturecenter.org. And I do promise we'll be back home by 6 p.m. So it'll be a fun day also. Couple of announcements to make here at the end. The Lyrid Nate meteor shower will be peaking on April 22nd, 23rd evening, or actually early morning. It's the best time to go out and look. So you want to be facing kind of toward the northeast. This is at 10 o'clock, looking kind of northeast. Of course, at 1, 2, 3 o'clock a.m., Hercules is going to be a little bit to the west of overhead, but you want to be watching the Hercules area to find the meteors. And what's so cool about these meteors is that they do leave a dust trail for a couple seconds behind them. So that's kind of a spectacular. So hopefully the weather is good. 22nd, 23rd overnight is the best time, but day before, day after, if you have the opportunity and you want to be out of bed early, again, 3, 4 o'clock, even 5 o'clock in the morning is the best time to be watching for the meteors. Also, you may have heard of this a little bit. Comet Swan uh, has been recently discovered, and it is in the early morning sky right now, uh, actually coming out of Pegasus into the constellation of Andromeda. And the way you would find that, if you know your way halfway around the sky, there's a constellation called Cassiopeia that looks like a W, and it's what we call one of the circumpolar constellations. That means that it goes around the North Star, but it doesn't, and it never does set. So if you can find Cassiopeia, and you notice that there's two V's to the constellation, a sharp V and a flatter V here. If you use the sharp V and draw a line from the middle of the back through the front star and follow that line down, you're going to come to Andromeda. And you might see the great square, the four stars making up the square over here. But anyway, it's in this area where you will see the comet. Uh, April 15th, like right tonight, it's here. And April 20th, it's right there. And April 25th, it's working down lower. Now it's going to go into the evening sky very late in April. Right now, it's not a naked eye object. You need a binoculars or a telescope to find it. But it might get a little bit brighter as it goes into the evening sky. It's actually going to be a very low in the western sky at sunset. So we'll keep you advised on that too as we go on. And finally, I just want to, if you haven't heard about these, Southern California's had been having some share of earthquake. In fact, they think this 5.2 earthquake that happened yesterday was the main event for this little swarm. Okay, northeast of San Diego, and there's a number of faults that are occurring. Here is San Diego down here. So the earthquakes right now are happening over here, like on this Elsinore fault. But there's the Rose Canyon fault. There's all kind of faults in this part of California. San Andreas is actually really to the east of a lot of other structures. So they think now it's just going to be these aftershocks. If you saw the video in the news of the San Diego Zoo, did anybody see the elephant video? Yeah, it's
Yes.
really cool. The elephants felt the earthquake. They went out and made what they call what they call the circle, where the elephants actually got in a circle facing out, watching what danger's coming, and they were protecting the young in the middle of the circle. And it stayed like that for about 4 minutes until the elephants kind of got convinced nothing's going to happen. So it's on YouTube and Facebook. If you haven't seen it, it's really like it's one of those moments, like wow, that's pretty cool. So anyway, just keep your ears peeled for the California earthquakes. Getting a little bit active down there around San Diego. So back back to seeing you all now. Okay, so all right, I don't have any. Do you have anything else in your mind there, Renee, that you want to bring up right now?
I do not. I was trying to find the elephants elephant video, so
Oh, trying to find the
I was going to
elephant.
share it, but then I realized we're watching a video. I can't share another video, so never mind.
Yeah, I, I'm pretty dumb at putting videos on here. So, all right, we're gonna move on into our program tonight, and it's really I'm really honored to be able to see and talk to and introduce to you a uh, a friend of mine, Jodi Sulpizio. She's been kind of part of my life for maybe since 1996 or 97, maybe not 98, because this young lady came to York County Parks one day looking for a job as a summer employee. And I was doing the hiring that year, so I talked to Jodi and I saw in her there were some possibilities, just a little bit of possibility that she might grow into something. I can say that because she knows me. But uh, that's all a lot of potential with Jodi. So Jodi got hired to help lead up our Nature Discovery Week summer program, and the timing worked out that after the summer program was over, Nixon Park suddenly had an opening for a full-time naturalist, and Jodi stepped right into that job because of her outstanding job with the summer program. So anyway, Jodi has advanced much further into her life, and we've had a lot of laughs together. We've had several sad days, I know, together, over the time. But Jodi is the natural resources educator, the master watershed steward coordinator for Penn State Extension in York County. And she's going to be talking to us tonight about the Master Watershed program, which is a great program. I do a little part for her in geology every year when she has her class going on. So we're really happy, and I'm glad, Jodi, that you came in to do this. And I know everybody's going to enjoy your program, so it's all yours.
All right. Well, thank you, Jeri. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. So I am thankful that Jeri gave me a shot at starting my career, basically. So I was with the county parks for 10 years and stayed home with my kids for several years, and now I've been with Extension for about 10 years. So I'm aging myself. Sometimes I'm surprised that people really don't know too much about Penn State Extension. So we are part of the university and the College of Ag, and we do believe that all people should have access to science-based education. We live alongside you, work in the community, and provide education a variety of ways, whether it's through a workshop or a one-on-one conversation, phone call. Maybe we are providing a webinar or an online video that you can watch. We're really trying to get information out there to all community members. And my job as a natural resources educator for Extension falls in the agronomy and natural resources unit for Extension. So you may be familiar with 4-H, or maybe you've heard of Master Gardeners. They would be in the horticulture unit. We have food safety. We have animal systems. So all kinds of stuff happening at Extension. So just wanted to say how we're funded. So we are funded federally, state government, and local government. So the County of York is actually who pays Penn State to pay me. So we're really blessed in York County to have very good local funding with the County of York. I'm very grateful for my position. So you can see the state here. We're broken up into 10 areas. So I'm an educator, but not just in York County, but I cover like water calls from all over the Southeast, which for some reason I got the highest population in the state. Gets overwhelming at times, but that's just how we're broken up and have about eight-ish water educators across the state to answer all kinds of water related questions. I already went over that. So I do coordinate the Master Watershed Steward Program in York County, and it's an educated volunteer force that goes out into the community to provide education and to do projects. And it was started in 2013 in Pennsylvania. And why? It was because conservation organizations were struggling and still do struggle, especially with maintaining volunteer power. And this is a very organized and structured program. And just with funding cuts, we're able to leverage resources with other organizations and really to provide that volunteer base to help other organizations get things done. So you can see Pennsylvania has lots of impaired streams. York County has 755 miles of impaired streams. So the program was launched in 2013. We're now in 42 counties. So York County launched in 2016, and we were the third county to launch the program. So I am just starting my 10th class. Well, we're well into the training for our 10th class, which is really hard to believe that we've been around that long. It started in York County with partnership with the York County Conservation District and the Watershed Alliance of York. We had gotten funding from the York County Community Foundation, kind of to start my position part-time until we were able to get the county to pick it up full-time. So really anyone can become a master watershed steward. Maybe some of you are or have a desire to become a watershed steward. We have all different backgrounds of people. The one thing that you need to have is a keen interest in the environment. We will teach you what you need to know, but definitely a strong desire to make a difference in the community and a willingness to learn. I do find with my volunteers that they're some of the most passionate people who just really, really love to learn. But it's more than just an education program. They need to have that time to give back and to volunteer in the community. So they're volunteering, improving the health of our streams, rivers, and other natural resources. And, taking the training definitely expands volunteers' water and natural resources knowledge with Penn State's research-based information and just really broadens our outreach into the community. So we do offer a training. So I've always had it once a year, and I invite partners, a lot of our local conservation partners, to provide instruction to our stewards. I want them to meet the local experts in the community. So prior to COVID, we met in person. Now we have an online training and meet in person occasionally. But when we had to pivot during COVID, it worked to meet virtually. And now we do a statewide training with a local York classroom that meets. And that's where Jeri is able to provide some education. And then we try to do some in-person field trips, like heading out to the York Water Company or to a wastewater treatment plant for a tour, just to get the people out in the community. I'm a firm believer that every citizen should have to tour both a water provider in their hometown and also a wastewater treatment plant. So I just wanted to show a current snapshot of our impact in Pennsylvania and York County. So Penn State's reporting year is October to the end of September. So these numbers are based on the end of September of 2024. So you can see the impact, and this is just in 1 year's time. Last year, 886 volunteers across the state, and you can see their volunteer hours there. And here in York County, our stewards volunteered over 4,000 hours and educated almost 7,000 folks. And then our lifetime stats here, you can see the impact we've made since we started. And hopefully this year, maybe not this year, we'll hit the $1 million mark. So we've volunteered over 28,000 hours. You can see based on the value of a volunteer's hours time, we're at $955,000 of value. So they're making significant impact in the county. And just looking at the streams that are impaired in Pennsylvania, all the red are the impaired streams. So that means the stream is polluted in some form, that it's unable to support aquatic life or to be used for recreation, fish consumption, or drinking water. And I wanted to show a map of York County just to show our impaired streams. So over half of streams in York County are listed as impaired with the Pennsylvania DEP. You might wonder why the southeast corner there is pretty much what doesn't have any colored streams there. They all remain blue. That area has not been assessed. So just, we're having significant impacts from development. Stormwater runoff is a big one here in York County, and you can see a typical York County stream on the left there has significant cut banks, a lot of erosion, and the photo on the right is what our streams should look like. But unfortunately, we have lost a lot of our trees and vegetation along streams. And I am proud to say that that stream there on the right was my childhood playground and where I spent a lot of time playing as a kid. So working with partners has really been the key to our success in York County. Working with everyone else who's, working in the natural resources field, conservation field, we're able to partner together and accomplish more to get things done. A lot of these partners help to educate the watershed stewards, and I always get feedback from them, and I really think they enjoy working with the volunteers. So we work with community partners and municipalities, other businesses, groups in the community to do on-the-ground restoration projects. So a watershed steward is to volunteer their time, it's 20 hours per year, on projects or education. So I just wanted to show you, highlight some of the projects that we've done over the years. Rain gardens are one of the projects that we do to really try to improve health, reduce stormwater runoff in communities. So these rain gardens were put into Bance Park in the city of York at the end of South Belvedere Street. The basins were there for the rain gardens, but had never been planted. So we ended up getting funding from a Growing Greener grant through the DEP and planted 3 of these rain gardens. So going back to these pictures, you might wonder what the cardboard there is. We did not use herbicides. These were definite weed beds when I took over the project. So we used cardboard and mulched all 3 of the gardens over as fall, winter, and then spring. They remained that way and really did a great job at killing the weeds. We ended up planting through the cardboard when we planted the gardens. It was pretty degraded, so it was pretty easy, but was an herbicide-free method for prepping the gardens. So then we came in and we planted perennials and some shrubs. Typically we use plugs, so we plant them 10 to 12 inches apart, really plant very densely. You can see right after we planted, we had one of the hurricanes, I forget which one. So the gardens did fill up quickly, but they drain within 24 hours. And this is what the gardens looked like pretty much the next year or two. They had filled in pretty well. And that's a look at one of the gardens. So we work with municipalities a lot. So this one was a bioswale that we planted in Windsor Township. And a bioswale is like a rain garden. It's just more of a linear stormwater conveyance system. So it's providing an alternative to the turf grass. This swale was functioning properly. It just did really little, really had not much impact on reducing pollutants or slowing that stormwater. So we put in a bunch of perennials and grasses and put some berms in that project to slow the stormwater down as it was meandering through the swale. And it provides great wildlife habitat. People definitely enjoy seeing it as they visit the park. So it adds an aesthetic appeal and definitely helps improve water quality by reducing erosion, preventing flooding, and removing pollutants. And, recharging groundwater as the native plants have an extensive root system to allow more infiltration. Another thing that we've helped with is creating native meadows. So we've done our most recent meadow plots are up at Gifford Pinchot State Park. We're having some issues with wildlife. Imagine that. Eating our planting. So we tried fencing that in, and we're going to do some replanting here this spring. But there's an initiative to reduce lawn and add native meadow habitat. One, it will help again with water quality and provides great wildlife benefits for food, shelter, lots of pollinator plants. So it's definitely is a win-win, and they end up being quite beautiful. We help other organizations who might struggle with a volunteer force. So one initiative that takes place in the city of York is cutting back the vegetation along the Cadorus Creek. And you might wonder, we have this mission to plant along streams. Why are we cutting the vegetation? The Army Corps of Engineers manages this area of the Cadorus Creek, and if it wasn't maintained and cut back, they would spray it with herbicides. So volunteers go in twice a week and cut the vegetation by hand. And it takes a lot of work, a lot of manpower, because you can't cut the whole thing every week. It's just an ongoing battle, but at least the root structure's there. There's green there, and it's not all herbicide. So if that is something this group would love to help with, we could connect you with the Lower Susquehanna Riverkeeper, who organizes that veg chopping, as he calls it. One of my favorite projects that we do is vernal pool monitoring up at Pinchot. I have some really active stewards who've really taken leadership with this, and we do this with DCNR, but mostly the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy. So they're out monitoring vernal pools. As soon as that snow is melting, they're out there twice a week. They are just wrapping up their vernal pool monitoring. So they're looking at phenology. So they're looking at when eggs are laid, when buds break on the trees. They look for life in the vernal pools and take notes on the vegetation growing around the pool. And we monitor a lot of pools up there, and there's a lot of citizen science data that's collected that goes to different organizations for that project. So there's crowdsource hydrology is one. So you're actually able to put your cell phone. We installed some posts at some of them where you can actually send a snapshot of the vernal pool. right to a database, and you can go online and look at how that vernal pool changes over the course of the year. So they're very dry this spring because of the drought we've had, but it's really neat to look through a year's worth of photos, and that's something any park visitor can take part in. There's a phenology, citizen science, crowdsource hydrology, and one other. I'm just blanking on what the other is at this moment, but it's good source of data that volunteers can help to gather and to then be used in the science community. So Little Creek State Park, or Little Creek Community Park in Spring Grove, we've done a lot out there, and some of our projects just evolve just by stewards having an idea. One of my stewards lives in Spring Grove, and she was always driving by Little Creek and wondered what was going on. A couple years ago, they had stream restoration work done, but she noticed there weren't a lot of trees put in after they did the stream work. They brought the stream back to the floodplain. There were some trees and shrubs, but we actually met with the township, connected with the Alliance for the Chesapeake Bay, and planted a riparian buffer. We did a food forest in the back of the park. We planted native meadow there. It is a sports complex too, so we couldn't plant, where they play softball and stuff. But I think the community really likes to have that meadow habitat. The trees are getting much bigger now. And then we also help to plant some rain gardens and provide some education to the community at the park. And that was just all one idea of a steward who was passing by there a lot. So working with townships is a great way to get stuff done. And this was in Carroll Township, Logan Park up near Dillsburg. We did invasive species removal and again planted a riparian buffer. We've planted a lot of buffers in the county. I think we manage now or maintain, it's about 35 acres of buffer that the stewards provide maintenance for. Roof Park up in Fairview Township, we put in downspout planters, again, native meadow, rain garden, and a live stake nursery. So I'm not sure if you know what live staking is, but you can take cuttings from certain shrubs and hardwood trees, whether it's the willows, red twig dogwood, buttonbush, elderberry. You can take cuttings from those, plant them in the stream bank, and you can kind of have a free source of plant material for stream restoration. I think working with youth is one of the things that I really like to do. We worked with the Devers School in York to plant, and Audubon to plant gardens, and we did sort of a stormwater garden on their school grounds. And most of these kids had never planted a plant before. I learned a lot through this project because I learned that you must dig around in the soil before you plant. This was the rockiest, I should say the most brick I've ever planted in. Before, there was a lot of fill from construction of the school that made this a super, super challenging project. But the kids got the work done, and it grew in great. Native plants really can grow in cruddy soils, and they took off in their little garden. We did work on the Cadorus Water Trail. I don't know if you realize there's a trail from the city at Bance Park all the way out to John Rudy Park. There is one remaining Lowhead Dam that is a hazard that you have to port around, but there's some informational signs all throughout. Some are up along the rail trail about the Cadorus Water Trail, and then we would encourage porting out there at John Rudy. I already talked about riparian buffers. Obviously, it's a big initiative to restore our stream banks and get trees back along the streams to improve the health of our streams. So we're always out every spring and fall, pretty much all every weekend, helping either partners to put in riparian buffers, or we're also out maintaining the buffers that are already planted. So when you put in a project, I'm a firm believer in maintaining it. Otherwise, a project is likely to fail. This was, again, another idea of a steward, and this was our largest buffer that we had done, and the first the largest buffer project that was done in York County. We worked with Northeastern School District. So we approached the school board. The maintenance guys would mow right up to the edge of Hartman Run. There's no vegetation there other than turf grass, and the area could not be ever developed or used for an athletic field. So we involved the schools, worked with hundreds of students to plant. Over COVID hit during this, so it took us 2 to 3 years to actually get is a little over 20 acres of riparian buffer put in place at Northeastern. So the first day we worked with 300 students. I was super scared that it would be the most disorganized chaos, but I really had planned and really organized the planting, had volunteers work with specific groups of kids, and we kind of color coded everything and invited a lot of local leaders to come out, and partners, so that they could help, and just kind of made a big deal with the planting, and had the secretary of DCNR. She planted the first tree of the project, and the county commissioners, and you can see Representative Gillespie there was in attendance. Another favorite project of mine is the Street to Creek storm drain art. So if you know any artists in your family or in your friend circle, we just launched the contest for this year. So if you've been in downtown York, you may have seen some of our storm drain art, and it's basically to raise awareness of stormwater pollution and the connection to the Cadorus Creek there in the city of York. We do live staking, which I already talked about, but there's a bucket of live stakes, and you can see that cut bank there on the right, and that is a typical York County stream, so that's why our waters are very muddy after it rains. So we're out there monitoring streams. We do this with Dickinson College, Alarm, and the Lower Susquehanna Riverkeeper Association. So volunteers are trained, and they go out once a month to monitor the stream sites that are given to them. And then that data all goes to the Chesapeake, the Chesapeake data, whatever. I'm blanking on the exact name of it, but that's been run for several years now, and is something you don't have to be a watershed steward to help with. But I will say it's brought attention to some significant pollution events. These are pretty small events, but the one on the left, one of my volunteers was out and came upon this milky white stream one Sunday, and we're not, as Penn State, able to do anything with kind of going after polluters, but we're able to turn it over to agencies and organizations who can. So DEP came out, I think, within 2 hours that day, and we had reached out to the Riverkeeper. So the more eyes on the stream, the more we're able to find pollution events happening. So if you've followed the case of the modern landfill polluting Kreitz Creek, that was discovered through our stream monitoring. It's great fun to work with all different partners. So this was a really cool outing at Gifford Pinchot State Park to help the Susquehanna River Basin Commission do a fish survey. So I will say no day of my job is the same. There's all different kinds of exciting things that I get to take part in. And new this year, we started salt monitoring, so collecting at different stream sites. We did start in 2024 of the winter, 2023, 2024 winter. This past winter, 2024, 2025, we really ramped up and focused mostly on the Cadorus watershed in pretty urban areas and took part in a salt-wide snapshot on January 31st. We worked in partnership with Stroudwater Research Center and did a blitz of like 40 different stream sites in York County to test the chlorides and conductivity of the water samples. And, you know, we've learned a lot about salt pollution this year. And even after the January 31st event, we had a huge spike in chlorides in our waterways at very toxic levels in our streams. So this is something we're going to grow and continue to work on. And I feel like it's one area where we could maybe make some change with municipalities and private applicators to cut back on the salt use. Salt use has just skyrocketed the past 10, 20 years compared to what it used to be. And we're not anti-salt, but anti-over application. And when parking lots are white, it is definitely over applied. The granules actually need space to work. So I could do a whole program on smart salt application. But it's definitely something I don't think people think too much about, but the salt is impacting our streams. Then educational programs for all kinds of groups in the county. We do help at the York County Envirothon every year, go to the libraries and work with schools. We do rain barrel workshops, a couple each year, and we sell rain barrels all year as a fundraiser. And then there's Jeri Jones. So he was a speaker at one of our tap talks last year. So we tried to offer 5 or 6 tap talks, and they're educational talks at local breweries or wineries. They need clean water, right, to make their products. So people gather. We have a presenter and try to get different people from the community to present. And then after the presentation, we have some fun with some water trivia. So Jeri talked about the history of the Susquehanna River. So that night, our trivia was based on the Susquehanna River. So it's great fun. Watch for that as we're planning our summer tap talks now. Typically, we have them at Collusion Tap Works in the city. It's a very local area or brewery. We've been down to Alecraft and Railroad and hope to keep expanding our venue. And I keep saying one of my favorite programs. This is probably my favorite educational program of the year is working with city youth. We get grants again from the York County Community Foundation, the Codorus Endowment Fund, and our target audience is city youth. I'm a big advocate if we just connecting youth to a waterway and having an experience with it will likely help them to appreciate it and take care of it more and become better stewards as they grow. So we get over 100 youth at this event every year. They just could fish all night long. They really, really enjoy it. And just seeing those kids have an outdoor experience and to catch a fish for the very first time is just as rewarding for the staff and volunteers as it is for the kids themselves. And we're out cleaning up a lot. So every year we do a plastic purge on the Susquehanna River, and it's depressing but fulfilling too as to how much trash we get out. But every year, you know, we try to move locations, but that trash comes back. So obviously more education needs to be done to secure our trash. So I know I need to wrap up here. Here's just a snapshot of last year. It's our little annual report flyer that we have. So I'm not going to go over this, but we removed over 500 bags of trash from our waterways last year, planted over 5,000 trees, and so on. And I just wanted to make a plug for a program that I helped to create was our Watershed Friendly Property Certification program. So if you have a lot of best management practices around your property, or even if you rent and you participate in conservation programs and projects in your community, you very well could qualify to become watershed friendly. Kind of just to raise awareness of what you're doing on your property, to give you some bragging rights also, but to educate your neighbors too as to what you may be doing on your property. And just, we did get the governor's award a couple of times, one for the Street to Creek Storm Drain Art Project, the watershed friendly certification, and then just overall as starting the Watershed Steward Program in the state of Pennsylvania. So I am a firm believer, only if we understand can we care, and only if we care will we help. So I'm really grateful and really do love my job, especially working with the volunteers who really dedicate a lot of their time and are passionate to making a difference. So there is my contact info. Email is best, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take questions now. Feel free to reach out if anything interests you or if you have questions.
I put Jodi's email in the chat too, if you wanted to write it down. There's one question in the chat early on, Jodi, one of your first slides. Why was Allegheny County separated on your map?
You know, why maybe they didn't have any other program around it. Let
Yeah,
me go back. Let me see here. I have to go back and look at the map.
this is one of our fine teachers that lives out in that area.
Yeah, so the counties that were not colored, that were white, we don't have funding to start the program. So Allegheny we do have a coordinator in Allegheny County, and I think some of the counties or the county coordinators, some have multiple counties. Like Jim, my colleague, has Lancaster, Dauphin, and Lebanon all as one program. I'm lucky to have York by itself, but I do know some of the western counties it's grouped, and then like the Pennsylvania Wilds, our coordinator Travis has like 10 counties that he coordinates the program. So I think that's what they meant.
When you had the map showing the 10 regions, Allegheny County was outlined by itself and not included in any one of the regions. Wondered.
Oh, yeah, I have no idea, actually. I have no idea. So I did not make this map, but I never really saw that before, but I see it now. I'm looking at it. So I don't know why that is. It seems like they maybe missed a line that should be taken away. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what region, like which region they fall in. I'd have to ask somebody. So are you from all over the state? Like people in the call tonight?
Yeah, Mike you are from Allegheny County, right, Mike?
Yeah, I live just outside of Pittsburgh
Okay.
in Monroeville. Most of the rest of everybody is out Jeri's way.
Okay.
We have one guy that normally comes from Johnstown, but he's not here tonight.
Okay. So like I said, we're in 42 counties, so not in every county in the state, and it's all dependent on funding. Again, I'm very fortunate here in York to have good support with our local county commissioners. So
we have Philadelphia County reported in, Adams County reported in. I know there's Larry's from Perry County, Larry? Okay, Perry County. I'm just looking around here. Who's not from
yeah, I think Perry's one we have not started up yet.
I type your questions in there.
Oh, let me look.
As over time, has the water quality testing shown improvements in Perry County?
Well, I mean, I was talking about her work.
In York.
Oh, okay.
So I will say, I think it's too soon to know. So the county did invest in 6 real-time monitoring stations in the county of York. So you can look that up. It's real-time data anytime you want. And I think the hope there is, hopefully it shows long term that our streams are in better shape than maybe what they were assessed at. That hopefully some of the work that we're doing is improving water quality. So I will say, I think it's, we've had them installed for I'd say maybe we have 3 years of data or so from those. I think it's too soon to know a whole lot. We did just get a grant through the SRBC to put in 2 real-time monitoring stations. We're going to put them on Poorhouse Run by Penn State York
Huh.
to monitor. Our thing that we really want to look at is the chlorides and road salt next to some of those large parking lots, and try to work with the schools, and hopefully Penn State York is still around to work with.
All right, I don't want to forget Debbie in Northumberland County. She wrote in here, and Northumberland
Oh,
County,
good, good.
Mifflin County. We do have. I'm missing the Schuylkill County person here, so I'm just trying to get
Okay,
everybody tuned in
yeah.
here.
So we do have a program in Philadelphia County, Adams. Need to branch out into the Mifflin, Juniata, Perry. I grew up in Juniata County. So, any other questions? I would say if you would be interested, you could reach out to the Penn State Extension office in your county. Every county has an extension office.
Hi, Jodi. Yes, I have a question. I'm super excited about this the Master Watershed program. I lived up the street from Cobbs Creek Environmental Center, and I know they have people out once a month monitoring the water. So I
Okay.
might actually jump in and volunteer sometime. I'm really pumped about it. I really enjoyed your presentation.
Yeah,
But
thanks. Yeah.
the question I had was about the OLLI program for Penn State. Is that something you can go on their website and sign up for? Do you need to pay for your classes? How does that work?
Yeah, so we're in our training now. So we do training once a year, usually end of February to the end of May. It's a once a week evening training. This year it's on Thursday nights, and there's a one-time fee of $125. If people need, if it's a hardship for them, we work with them. And then you attend the class. We used to have you take exams, take a pre-test and a final exam. We dropped that to not scare people away because it sounds daunting to take a 100 question exam. So, yeah, you attend the classes and then you're required to volunteer 20 hours per year to kind of maintain your status. The second year and ongoing years, we ask that you do 10 hours of continuing ed with either Penn State or any other agency. Could be Renee at Cador State Park. You could attend one of those many programs that was shown here earlier, or Jeri's geology programs, and that would definitely count towards your continuing ed. It's very easy to get extra education, and I find stewards, they love to continually learn. So I offer a lot for my own stewards. We just toured like the York County waste to energy plant, the incinerator. So that would, count towards their continued learning.
All right, thank you. I really enjoyed your presentation.
Well, thanks for attending.
Anybody else have a question? Well, we've done. Jodi does a lot of work there. So
Keeps me hopping. Never a dull moment.
you showed the slide of the fish. I reminded me of a story about the two fish that got put into a tank. And then one fish asked the other fish, "Do you know how to drive this thing?" I guess you I guess you had to be there. All right. Okay, Jodi, thanks very much. That was a good good education. And when you see all these the tree planting tubes hanging around the fields, you know where they came from. Pretty
Well,
much.
thanks for having me, Jerry.
Good to
Hope
see
to
you all
see you.
again. Yep. And yep, I'm just reading the comments here. Very interesting. Thank you. So okay. Um, remember next time we get to see you, come with your thinking brain. It's gonna be trivia night for prizes. No cash prizes. This is a low budget operation, remember? So anyway, first Tuesday in May, we will see you for the trivia night, nature night. And like I said, I did put Jodi's email in chat if you want to write that down or look at the recording again after it's posted in another hour on our website, jonesgeo.us, if you ever want to look at the uh, any of the old Zoom rock rooms are in there. So, Renee, you have any closing comments?
I just want to thank Jodi for coming and thank you for maintaining your projects after you're gone. Being in a park where people like to do things and walk
And
away,
then they leave, and
it is
it's a
the
fail.
maintenance is
Yeah,
greatly appreciated
yeah,
and looks like you're doing some great things out there. So
yeah.
thank you
I'd like
very
to do
much.
more at Cadorus. I know we did a small cleanup. I think it was in the fall one day, and we had like two people, but they collected a lot of trash. Even
Yeah.
found a full bottle of vodka that was not open, or rum or something. I guess they must have gotten scared away, and
It's not surprising. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, get in touch. We can coordinate some things. Absolutely. But you guys do good work. So,
All right. Well,
All
thank
right.
you.
great.
We'll
Well,
see
thanks
y'all.
everybody for coming. Happy
Yeah.
Easter if you celebrate.
Happy Easter, everybody. Enjoy your chocolate candy and find all the eggs and go to church Sunday. We'll see you in a few weeks.
See ya.
Bye bye.